No warrior dared approach the giant alien beast until the lonely human janitor fed it bread. Before we dive into this story, drop a quick hi in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. It really helps support the channel. The Galactic Concordat station hummed with activity, its massive halls filled with representatives from 100 different worlds. Among them moved Tyler Grant, a human janitor whose mop and cleaning cart were his only companions in this vast interstellar hub. Klaxons blared throughout Concordat Station, sending diplomats and officials scurrying to safety. Tyler Grant leaned on his mop, watching the chaos unfold with mild curiosity. Another day, another crisis on the massive space station that served as the diplomatic hub for the Galactic Alliance. As the station's maintenance staff scattered around him, Tyler remained still, mentally calculating whether this emergency would mean overtime pay or just more mess to clean up later. All personnel evacuate Docking Bay 17 immediately, the station AI announced in 15 different languages. Containment breach in progress. This is not a drill. Tyler sighed. Docking Bay 17 was on his assignment roster for today. Whatever mess was happening there would eventually become his problem. He pushed his cleaning cart toward the nearest observation window, ignoring the shouted warnings from a passing Novalian security officer. "Human, you must retreat to safety quarters," the blue-skinned alien barked, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Just want to see what I'll be cleaning up," Tyler replied with a shrug. Through the reinforced plasteel window, he watched as a massive cargo ship listed to one side, its hull breached. Something large moved in the shadows of the damaged vessel. Something very, very large. "What is that?" he asked, more to himself than to the security officer who had reluctantly stopped beside him. "Brackner beast," the Novalian replied, antenna twitching nervously. "Apex predator from Cygnus Delta. It was being transported to the zoological gardens on Proxima Centauri. Now it will kill us all." Tyler squinted, trying to make out the creature's shape. "Doesn't look that dangerous from here." The Novalian's compound eyes widened in shock. "Not dangerous. It has devoured entire settlements. Its hide repels energy weapons, and its claws can shred battleship armor. That is why we are evacuating. The station commander has already requested warrior reinforcements from the Tarkasian fleet." As if to punctuate the alien's words, a thunderous roar echoed through the station's hull, vibrating the deck plates beneath their feet. The observation window revealed the creature fully now as it emerged from the ship, a mountainous form with 6 powerful limbs, armored scales reflecting the emergency lights in iridescent patterns. It stood nearly 5 meters tall, with a wedge-shaped head crowned by swept-back horns. "Tarkasian warriors are the fiercest in the galaxy," the security officer continued, already backing away. "If anyone can subdue the beast, they can." Tyler watched as the massive creature paced the docking bay, its movements surprisingly graceful for something so large. It didn't seem to be attacking anything, just moving restlessly, occasionally pawing at the deck plating. "Looks scared," Tyler murmured. "Scared? Brackners know no fear. They are killing machines." The Novalian had retreated several more steps. "Human, you will come to safety now or be reported to station authority." But Tyler had already turned back to his cleaning cart, rifling through the supplies stored in the bottom compartment. "You go ahead. I've got something to check on." The Novalian made an exasperated clicking sound before hurrying away, joining the stream of evacuees heading for the designated shelter areas. Tyler continued digging through his cart until he found what he was looking for, a slightly squashed sandwich wrapped in preservation film. He'd packed it for his lunch break, simple bread from the station's hydroponics wheat, with a spread made from synthesized proteins. Not exactly gourmet, but it would do. He glanced at the evacuation route signs, then in the opposite direction toward the service corridors that would lead him to Docking Bay 17. The station AI's voice continued announcing the emergency situation, now adding that Tarkasian warrior units would arrive in 20 minutes. 20 minutes, Tyler muttered to himself. Plenty of time. Using his maintenance access card, Tyler bypassed the security lockdowns, moving through the nearly empty service corridors. Years of cleaning every corner of the massive station had given him an intimate knowledge of its layout, including all the shortcuts and access points not on the official maps. As he approached Docking Bay 17, the roars grew louder, interspersed with what sounded almost like whimpers. Tyler paused at the final security door, taking a deep breath before swiping his card. The door slid open with a pneumatic hiss. The Brackner's head swiveled toward him immediately, 6 yellow eyes fixing on the human with predatory focus. Its massive jaws opened, revealing rows of serrated teeth, each the length of Tyler's forearm. "Hey there, big fella," Tyler said softly, stepping into the docking bay with deliberate slowness. He held the sandwich in one hand, keeping his other hand visible and empty. "Rough day, huh? Transport ship crashes. Everybody starts yelling and running away. Pretty stressful." The creature growled, a sound that vibrated the metal flooring, but it didn't charge. Tyler noted the way it favored one of its middle limbs, holding it slightly off the ground. "You're hurt," he observed, taking another careful step forward. "And probably hungry too. But they don't feed you properly in transport. All about minimum costs, maximum profit." He slowly unwrapped the sandwich. "This isn't much, but it's something." The Brackner sniffed the air, its nostrils flaring. It made a curious rumbling sound. "That's right. It's food. No tricks." Tyler broke off a piece of the bread and tossed it gently. It landed a few meters from the creature's feet. The beast eyed the morsel suspiciously, then with surprising delicacy for something so large, extended its neck and sniffed the bread. After a moment's hesitation, a long, purple tongue snaked out and pulled the bread into its mouth. Tyler smiled and broke off another, larger piece. "Like that, do you? It's just regular bread. Nothing fancy." He tossed the second piece a bit closer to himself. The Brackner considered it, then shuffled forward to claim it, still watching Tyler warily. This continued for several minutes, with Tyler gradually reducing the distance between them with each piece of bread. "You know," he said conversationally as he tossed the final piece, now only a few meters from where he stood, "I get it. Being carted around against your will, locked up, everyone either afraid of you or wanting to control you. Nobody seeing you as anything but what they think you are." The Brackner finished the last piece of bread, then tilted its massive head, regarding Tyler with what seemed like curiosity. "I've been on this station 3 years, Tyler continued, "cleaning up after diplomats and officers who never even notice I exist. Before that, I was in the Earth Defense Force. Combat engineer. Got tired of building things just to see them blown up, you know?" He took a cautious step forward, then another. The beast remained still, watching him. "That leg looks painful. I'm not a vet, but I've got a first aid kit on my cart. Maybe I could take a look?" As if understanding, the Brackner slowly lowered itself to the deck, extending the injured limb slightly. Tyler approached with careful movements, noting the deep gash in the creature's scaled hide, likely sustained during the ship's crash. "This might sting a bit," he warned as he removed an antiseptic spray from his pocket. The beast flinched slightly when the spray hit the wound, but didn't lash out. Tyler then applied a coagulant patch from his personal first aid kit, designed for humans, but better than nothing. "There we go. Not perfect, but should help until someone with actual training can look at it." The Brackner made a low rumbling sound that vibrated through Tyler's chest. Tentatively, he reached out and placed a hand on the creature's scaled hide, away from the injured area. The scales were warm to the touch and smoother than they appeared. "You're not so scary, are you? Just big and misunderstood." The sound of armored boots suddenly echoed from the corridor behind him. Tyler turned to see 6 Tarkasian warriors in full battle gear entering the docking bay, their energy lances powered and ready. The lead warrior, nearly 2 meters tall with crimson-scaled skin and an elaborate crest, raised a clawed hand to halt his squad. "Human, step away from the Brackner immediately," he commanded in a guttural voice. "That creature has killed dozens of our finest warriors across 3 star systems." Tyler didn't move, keeping one hand on the Brackner's flank. "He's injured and scared. He's not attacking anyone." The Tarkasian's yellow eyes narrowed. It is a mindless beast that knows only destruction. Our orders are to neutralize it. He just ate my sandwich and let me treat his wound, Tyler countered. Doesn't seem mindless to me. The warrior squad spread out in a standard containment formation. Your foolish human sentimentality will get you killed. The Brackner are bred for combat in the fighting pits of the Outer Rim. They know nothing else. Tyler felt the muscles beneath his hand tense as the Brackner sensed the threat. Without thinking, he stepped between the creature and the warriors. Then maybe nobody's given them a chance to know anything else. The lead Tarkasian raised his energy lance. One final warning, human. Move aside. Before Tyler could respond, the station commander's voice came over the communication system. Tarkasian unit, stand down. I repeat, stand down. Medical and containment teams are en route. The warriors hesitated, their discipline wavering against their desire for combat. The lead Tarkasian finally lowered his weapon with visible reluctance. This is most irregular, Commander. A new voice joined the conversation, the smooth, authoritative tones of Ambassador Krell from the Galactic Science Council. What is irregular, Captain, is that we are witnessing unprecedented behavior from a Brackner specimen. Behavior that contradicts everything we thought we knew about the species. Tyler realized the entire scene was being monitored through the station's security systems. He glanced up at the nearest camera, then back to the Brackner, who had remained surprisingly calm despite the warrior's presence. The docking bay doors opened again, admitting Ambassador Krell herself, a tall, slender being with silvery skin and elongated features. Behind her came a team of scientists and medical personnel, all maintaining a respectful distance. Remarkable, the ambassador said, her large eyes taking in the scene. We have documentation of Brackner specimens killing on site, yet this one appears to have formed some kind of connection with the human. His name is Tyler, the station commander said, entering behind the ambassador. Tyler Grant, station maintenance crew. Tyler nodded acknowledgement, still keeping a protective stance near the Brackner. He's hurt, ma'am. Injured in the crash. I put a temporary patch on it, but he needs proper medical attention. Ambassador Krell approached slowly, her movements deliberate and non-threatening. Mr. Grant, you've achieved something our best xenobiologists have deemed impossible. The Brackner are classified as Class 5 predators, intelligent enough to be dangerous, but supposedly incapable of socialization or domestication. Tyler shrugged. I just gave him some bread and didn't point weapons at him. Seems like a pretty low bar. The ambassador's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. Indeed, sometimes the simplest approaches yield the most remarkable results. Would you be willing to assist our xenobiology team? Your connection with this specimen could be invaluable. On one condition, Tyler said, surprising himself with his boldness. He gets treated properly. No cages, no prod sticks, no fighting pits. Just because he looks like a monster doesn't mean he has to be treated like one. Ambassador Krell exchanged glances with the station commander, who nodded slightly. Agreed, Mr. Grant. We will establish appropriate habitat conditions and ensure the specimen's welfare. He has a name, Tyler said, the words coming to him suddenly as he looked into the Brackner's multiple eyes. Barley. Barley, the ambassador repeated, her head tilting in confusion. Yeah, because he likes bread. Tyler smiled, giving the creature's flank a gentle pat. Barley rumbled in response, the sound almost like a purr. The Tarkasian captain made a disgusted sound. You name it like a pet? These creatures have devastated colonies. Maybe they were just defending themselves, Tyler suggested. Ever think of that? You go somewhere with guns and cages, planning to capture something, and you're surprised when it fights back. Ambassador Krell stepped between Tyler and the increasingly agitated Tarkasian. Captain, your unit is dismissed. Please report to your superior that the situation is under control. The warriors departed reluctantly, the captain giving Tyler and Barley one final glare before exiting. As they left, the medical team cautiously approached, led by a Centaurian veterinary specialist. The wound appears superficial, the vet said after scanning Barley from a safe distance. Your first aid application was surprisingly effective, human. If you can keep the specimen calm, we can administer a more comprehensive treatment. Tyler nodded, maintaining contact with Barley as the medical team worked. The massive creature remained docile, occasionally making that curious rumbling sound whenever Tyler spoke to him. After the medical team finished, Ambassador Krell approached again. Mr. Grant, I would like to offer you a new position. The Science Council has been attempting to study Brackner behavior for decades with little success. Your natural affinity for this specimen represents an unprecedented opportunity. Tyler blinked in surprise. You're offering me a job? As what? Officially, you would be classified as a xenobiological liaison. Unofficially, you would be helping us understand these creatures in ways our traditional research methods have failed to do. The station commander nodded in agreement. Full diplomatic credentials, council-level clearance, and a substantial increase in salary compared to your current position. Tyler looked at Barley, who had settled comfortably on the deck plating, seemingly content despite the commotion around him. 3 years of mopping floors and emptying trash receptacles, invisible to the station's important occupants. Now, because he'd shared a sandwich with a supposedly mindless beast, they were offering him a chance to be something more. What about Barley? What happens to him? The specimen will be relocated to the Science Council's Xenobiological Research Center on Proxima Centauri, Ambassador Krell explained. State-of-the-art facilities, including a habitat designed to mimic its natural environment. I want to stay with him, Tyler said firmly. If I take this job, I go where he goes. The ambassador considered this, then nodded. That can be arranged. Your connection with the specimen is precisely what makes you valuable to our research. Tyler looked into Barley's multiple eyes, seeing something there that the scientists and warriors had missed: intelligence, wariness, but also a growing trust. What do you say, big guy? Want to get out of here? Go somewhere with some open space? Somewhere with real food, not just emergency rations. Barley rumbled, the sound somehow conveying agreement. All right then, Tyler said, turning back to the ambassador. We have a deal. 3 days later, Tyler stood in the observation lounge of the Science Council vessel Empirical Discovery, watching as Concordat Station grew smaller in the viewport. Beside him, Barley rested on a specially reinforced deck plate, contentedly gnawing on a synthetic bone the ship's quartermaster had fabricated for him. Dr. Liana Shaw, the mission's lead xenobiologist, approached with a data tablet. A petite woman with dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, she had been surprisingly accepting of Tyler's unconventional methods. The initial scans are fascinating, she said, showing Tyler the results. Brackner neural pathways are far more complex than our previous studies indicated. The problem wasn't that they couldn't form social bonds. It's that our approach triggered their defensive responses before any bonding could occur. Tyler nodded, rubbing the spot between Barley's central eyes that the creature particularly enjoyed. Makes sense. First thing most people do when they see something scary is grab a weapon. Barley was just responding in kind. Dr. Shaw made a note on her tablet. You continue to anthropomorphize the specimen. He has a name, Tyler reminded her. Yes, Barley. She smiled slightly. Most of my colleagues would consider your approach deeply unscientific, but I can't argue with results. In 3 days, you've made more progress with a Brackner than our entire research division has in 20 years. A young research assistant approached nervously, keeping a wide berth from Barley. Dr. Shaw, we've received a transmission from the Council. The landing protocols for Proxima Research Station have been approved. We'll arrive in approximately 48 hours. Thank you, Elias. She dismissed the assistant with a nod before turning back to Tyler. Are you nervous? This will be quite a change from station maintenance. Tyler considered the question, watching as Barley rolled onto his back, presenting his armored belly for scratching, a gesture of trust that would have been unthinkable days ago. Not really, he finally answered. Change is good sometimes. Besides, it's not like I'm doing this alone. He patted Barley's belly, earning a contented rumble from the massive creature. Dr. Shaw's expression grew serious. You should know that not everyone on the Council supports this approach. There are those who view the Brackner strictly as weapons to be controlled or threats to be eliminated. The Tarkasian Imperium in particular has been vocal in their opposition. Let me guess, the same Tarkasians who've been hunting Brackners for their fighting pits? She nodded. The Imperium has built much of their military reputation on being the only force capable of subduing Brackners. Your demonstration with Barley undermines that narrative. Tyler snorted. So this is about pride? They're mad because I made their big, scary monsters look like overgrown puppies. It's about power, Mr. Grant. The perceived ability to control what others fear has significant political currency in the Galactic Alliance. Barley rolled back onto his feet, stretching his 6 limbs with feline grace before moving to the viewport. He pressed one massive paw against the transparent material, watching the stars streak by. He's intelligent, Tyler said. Maybe not in the way we measure it, but he understands more than they think. All of them do. Dr. Shaw followed his gaze. If you're right, it would change everything we thought we knew about Brackner physiology and behavior. It would also raise troubling questions about how they've been treated. Good, Tyler said firmly. Those questions should be raised. The ship's communication system chimed softly, followed by the captain's voice. Dr. Shaw, we've received a priority transmission from Proxima Research Station. They're reporting unusual activity from their resident Brackner specimens. The doctor's eyes widened. What kind of activity? They're reportedly gathering at the north perimeter of their enclosure. Station security is concerned they might be coordinating an escape attempt. Tyler and Dr. Shaw exchanged glances. When did this behavior start? She asked. Approximately 12 hours after we transmitted news of our approach with the new specimen, the captain replied. Does that timing seem significant? They know we're coming, Tyler said quietly, looking at Barley, who had turned his attention from the viewport to Tyler, as if understanding the conversation. Somehow they know. Dr. Shaw's scientific skepticism battled with the evidence before her. That would suggest a form of communication we've never detected. Or never looked for, Tyler countered. Has anyone ever tried to actually communicate with them instead of just studying or fighting them? The question hung in the air, unanswered but increasingly difficult to dismiss. Barley made a low, distinctive sound, not quite a growl, not quite a purr. Then, to the astonishment of both Tyler and Dr. Shaw, he raised himself to his full height and placed all 3 sets of paws on the viewport, looking out toward their destination with unmistakable anticipation. Well, Tyler said, a slow smile spreading across his face, this should be interesting. As the ship continued its journey toward Proxima Centauri, Tyler couldn't help but wonder what other misconceptions might be waiting to be corrected. What other fearsome beasts might simply be misunderstood, waiting for someone to see past their terrifying exteriors to the intelligence within. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of purpose. Not bad for a janitor who just wanted to share his lunch. The ship's lights dimmed as they entered the jump sequence for the final leg of their journey. In the soft blue glow, Tyler placed his hand on Barley's flank, feeling the steady rhythm of the creature's breathing. Almost there, big guy, he said softly. Almost home. The empirical discovery emerged from its final jump with a subtle shift that sent ripples through the artificial gravity field. Tyler steadied himself against the wall, while Barley remained perfectly balanced on all 6 limbs, seemingly unaffected by the momentary disturbance. Proximity alert, announced the ship's AI. Approaching Proxima Research Station. Docking procedures initiating. Dr. Shaw entered the observation lounge, her usual composed demeanor slightly ruffled. We've received updated information from the station. The behavior of their Brackner specimens has become increasingly organized. They've formed what appears to be a perimeter formation around the northern edge of their habitat. Tyler raised an eyebrow. A formation? Like military. Precisely. It's unprecedented. She showed him footage on her tablet. On the screen, 12 Brackners of varying sizes had arranged themselves in a perfect semicircle, all facing the same direction. They weren't moving, just waiting. They're expecting us, Tyler said, looking at Barley, who had moved to his side and was viewing the footage with obvious interest. Or more specifically, they're expecting him. Dr. Shaw's scientific objectivity warred with the evidence before her eyes. The implications are staggering. If they possess this level of coordination and communication, then a lot of people have been wrong about them for a very long time, Tyler finished. The ship's comm system crackled. Dr. Shaw, we have a situation. Station security is requesting that we delay docking. Apparently, there's been an incident with one of the Brackner specimens. The doctor frowned. What kind of incident? A handler was injured during the morning feeding. Nothing life-threatening, but Station Director Coven has ordered a security lockdown of the Brackner habitat. Tyler felt Barley tense beside him. The creature made a low rumbling sound that seemed almost distressed. It's okay, big guy, Tyler reassured him, placing a hand on his scaled flank. We'll sort this out. Dr. Shaw studied them both. Mr. Grant, would you be willing to attempt something rather unorthodox? More unorthodox than befriending a supposedly mindless killing machine. She almost smiled. I want you to see if you can. Ask Barley what's happening. The timing of this incident seems suspect. Tyler looked skeptical. I don't speak Brackner, Doc. Perhaps not linguistically, but you've established a connection that defies conventional understanding. There may be more to your communication than we realize. Tyler shrugged and turned to Barley. Hey, buddy. Your friends at the station seem upset about something. Any idea what's going on? Barley's multiple eyes fixed on Tyler. Then he lowered his massive head to the deck plating and used one clawed appendage to scratch a series of marks on the floor. Whoa! Tyler stepped back in surprise. Did you know he could do that? Dr. Shaw's eyes widened. Deliberate mark-making is consistent with proto-writing behavior. This is extraordinary. The marks were crude but unmistakably intentional. A rough circle with radiating lines, followed by a series of parallel slashes. What does it mean? Tyler asked. Dr. Shaw knelt to examine the marks more closely. I'm not certain, but this circular pattern resembles the layout of the Brackner habitat at the research station, and these lines could represent the security fence. These slashes. She paused, her scientific mind racing. These could indicate damage or harm. Tyler looked at Barley. Is someone hurting the other Brackners at the station? Barley made a distinctive sound, neither growl nor roar, but something more complex, and scratched another set of marks. This time what appeared to be a crude representation of a Tarkasian warrior. The Tarkasians? Tyler's expression hardened. They're supposed to be allies of the Science Council. The Imperium has provided security consultants to the station, Dr. Shaw admitted. Given their experience with Brackner containment, it seemed logical. Their experience hunting and capturing them, you mean? Tyler's voice had an edge to it. We need to dock now, not later. Dr. Shaw nodded grimly and activated her comm link. Captain, override the delay request. Priority Science Protocol Alpha 7. We're docking immediately. Acknowledged, Doctor. Preparing for emergency docking procedure. The ship surged forward, its engines humming at increased power. Tyler felt the familiar sensation of acceleration dampeners struggling to compensate. What's the plan when we get there? He asked. Dr. Shaw's expression was resolute. First, we document everything. Barley's communication abilities, the coordinated behavior of the station specimens, all of it. Then we present our findings to Director Coven and demand a full investigation into the Tarkasian security team's activities. And if they don't listen? She hesitated. The Science Council values empirical evidence above all else. They will have to acknowledge what we show them. Tyler wasn't so sure, but he kept his doubts to himself as the ship maneuvered into its docking position. Barley had become increasingly agitated, pacing the observation lounge with growing intensity. Easy, big guy, Tyler soothed. We'll figure this out. The docking procedure completed with a series of mechanical clanks and hisses. Moments later, the captain's voice came over the comm system again. Dr. Shaw, we have a welcoming committee. Director Coven and Chief Security Officer Vorex are requesting immediate conference. Dr. Shaw straightened her uniform. Very well. Mr. Grant, please bring Barley. I want them to see exactly what we're dealing with. They made their way to the ship's main airlock, Barley following Tyler with surprising docility, despite his obvious tension. As the airlock cycled open, they were met by a delegation of station personnel. Director Coven was a Regalian, tall and imposing with craggy gray skin and deep-set eyes. Beside him stood a Tarkasian in the black uniform of station security, presumably Chief Officer Vorex. The Tarkasian's yellow eyes widened at the sight of Barley walking freely beside Tyler. "What is the meaning of this?" Vorex demanded, his hand moving instinctively to the energy pistol at his hip. "That specimen should be contained and sedated for transport." "The specimen has a name," Tyler replied evenly. "This is Barley, and he doesn't need sedation or containment." Director Coven raised a hand, silencing Vorex's objection. "Dr. Shaw, your transmission mentioned unusual findings, but this—" He gestured toward Barley. "This exceeds even the most optimistic projections." "Indeed, Director," Dr. Shaw agreed. "We have evidence suggesting that Brackners possess significantly higher intelligence than previously documented, including rudimentary symbolic communication and complex social organization." Vorex made a dismissive sound. "Impossible. The Imperium has studied these beasts for generations. They are cunning predators, nothing more." "Perhaps your methods of study were flawed," Tyler suggested, earning a glare from the security chief. Director Coven stroked his chin thoughtfully. "These claims require verification, of course. But I must say, seeing a Brackner behaving in this manner is unprecedented." "We've also received concerning information," Dr. Shaw continued. "There are indications that the Brackners in your habitat may be under duress." Vorex stepped forward aggressively. "You accuse us of mistreatment? The incident this morning proves their savage nature." A handler approached with food, and the creature attacked without provocation. "Without provocation?" Tyler asked skeptically. "What exactly was this handler doing when the attack occurred?" Director Coven and Vorex exchanged glances. "Standard feeding protocol," the director answered, a bit too quickly. Barley suddenly made a sharp, barking sound and scratched at the deck plating again, creating a new set of marks. These were different, a crude representation of what appeared to be an energy weapon. Dr. Shaw examined the marks, then looked up at the director. "I'd like to review your security footage from this morning's incident." "That won't be necessary," Vorex interjected. "Station security has already completed a thorough investigation." "Actually," Director Coven said slowly, "I believe transparency would be in everyone's best interest. Chief Vorex, please have the footage transferred to the main conference room." The Tarkasian's scaled features tightened in barely concealed anger, but he nodded curtly. "As you wish, Director." They proceeded to the conference room, drawing startled looks from station personnel as Barley walked alongside them. The massive creature stayed close to Tyler, occasionally rumbling low warnings when anyone approached too near. Once inside the conference room, Director Coven activated the holographic display. "Computer, access security feed from Habitat Section 7, this morning at 0730 hours. The display flickered to life, showing a feeding area within the Brackner habitat. A handler in protective gear was visible, approaching one of the Brackners with a feeding trough. So far, nothing seemed unusual. Then a Tarkasian officer entered the frame, carrying what appeared to be a control rod, a device ostensibly used for guiding large animals, but known for delivering painful electrical shocks. "Freeze image," Dr. Shaw commanded. "Director, your station permits the use of control rods?" The Science Council banned such devices 2 standard years ago for being unnecessarily cruel. Director Coven frowned. "They are approved for emergency use only, not routine handling." "Resume playback," Tyler requested, his eyes fixed on the screen. The footage continued. The Tarkasian approached the Brackner, jabbing the control rod toward it even though the creature was calmly accepting food from the handler. The Brackner backed away, but the Tarkasian pursued, finally making contact and delivering what was clearly a powerful shock. The creature roared in pain and lashed out, knocking the handler aside in its attempt to escape the Tarkasian. "Stop playback," Director Coven ordered, his expression grim. "Chief Vorex, explain this immediately." Vorex's posture had become defensive. "Standard conditioning procedure. The beasts must learn their place." "Their place?" Tyler's voice was quiet but intense. And what place is that exactly? Control, Vorex snapped. These creatures have terrorized Tarkasian colonies for centuries. Our warriors have died containing the threat they pose. They exist to be conquered, nothing more. Barley growled, a deep rumbling sound that made everyone but Tyler step back instinctively. You're wrong, Tyler said, placing a calming hand on Barley's flank. They're intelligent. They communicate. They remember. And from what I've seen, they've been a lot more patient with your kind than you deserve. Director Coven turned to Vorex. Chief, I'm relieving you of duty pending a full investigation. Your security access is revoked effective immediately. This is outrageous. Vorex protested. The Imperium will not stand for this insult. The Imperium, Dr. Shaw interjected, will be most interested in our findings, particularly the evidence that their famed warriors have been abusing sentient beings under the guise of security protocols. As they argued, Barley had moved to the conference room's viewport, which overlooked the Brackner habitat. The creature placed a paw against the transparent material, looking down at his kin. Below, the gathered Brackners had maintained their formation, still facing north as if waiting. They knew, Tyler said suddenly, drawing everyone's attention. They knew something was wrong here, and they've been trying to protect each other. That's why they're organized like that. It's defensive. Dr. Shaw approached the viewport. Director, I'd like permission to enter the habitat with Mr. Grant and Barley. Absolutely not, Vorex exclaimed. You no longer have authority here, Chief. Director Coven reminded him coldly before turning to Dr. Shaw. Are you certain this is safe, Doctor? No, she admitted. But I believe it's necessary. If we're right about Brackner intelligence and communication, this could be the breakthrough we've been working toward for decades. The director considered for a moment, then nodded. I'll authorize it, but with safety protocols in place. And Chief Vorex will remain here, under guard. 2 security officers, notably not Tarkasian, entered to escort Vorex away. The former security chief glared at Tyler. You understand nothing, human. These creatures destroyed entire settlements. They are born killers. Maybe, Tyler replied. Or maybe they were just defending themselves from people like you. After Vorex was removed, Director Coven led them to the habitat access point, a reinforced airlock system designed to transfer personnel safely into the enclosed environment. Our standard protocol requires protective gear and stun batons, he explained, indicating the equipment lockers. Tyler shook his head. No gear, no weapons. That's exactly what's been causing problems. Mr. Grant, while I appreciate your insights, these safety measures exist for good reason. If you go in there looking like you're ready for a fight, that's exactly what you'll get, Tyler insisted. I'm going in with just Barley. No protection, no weapons. Dr. Shaw stepped forward. I'll accompany him, Director. Without protective gear. Director Coven looked between them, clearly conflicted. The Science Council will have my position if anything happens to either of you. Document everything, Dr. Shaw told him. Whatever occurs, it will advance our understanding significantly. The director finally relented. Very well. The outer airlock will open in 30 seconds. May science guide your path, Doctor. As the airlock cycled, Tyler felt a moment of doubt. Was he being foolish? These creatures had indeed killed people. That much wasn't in dispute. He looked at Barley, who seemed remarkably calm despite the situation. You've got my back, right, big guy? Barley rumbled softly, nudging Tyler's shoulder with his massive head in what seemed unmistakably like reassurance. The airlock door slid open, revealing the habitat beyond. A carefully constructed environment with rocky outcroppings, artificial streams, and areas of dense vegetation designed to mimic the Brackner's native ecosystem. In the distance, the 12 Brackners maintained their formation, though several heads turned at the sound of the airlock. When Barley emerged behind Tyler and Dr. Shaw, a visible ripple of reaction passed through the group. Now what? Dr. Shaw whispered, her scientific confidence momentarily wavering in the face of 12 massive predators. We walk forward, nice and slow, Tyler said. No sudden movements. They proceeded at a measured pace. The Brackners watched their approach, making no move to either flee or attack. When they were about 20 meters away, Barley moved ahead of Tyler and Dr. Shaw, approaching his kin with a series of rumbles and barks that clearly constituted some form of communication. The largest of the habitat Brackners, a scarred individual with broken horns, stepped forward to meet Barley. The two massive creatures circled each other, exchanging sounds and subtle movements that even Tyler couldn't interpret. "Are they talking?" Dr. Shaw asked, her voice barely audible. "Something like that," Tyler replied. "Look at their body language. It's not aggressive. It's more like they're exchanging information." After several minutes of this interaction, Barley returned to Tyler's side. The scarred Brackner followed, stopping a few meters away and regarding Tyler with its multiple eyes. Tyler took a deep breath and stepped forward, extending his empty hand palm up, the same gesture he had used when first approaching Barley. "Hello there. My name's Tyler. I'm a friend." The scarred Brackner tilted its head, then slowly, deliberately, extended one massive paw and placed it gently in Tyler's outstretched hand. Behind him, he heard Dr. Shaw's sharp intake of breath. "Director Coven," she said into her comm link, "are you recording this?" "Every moment, Doctor," came the astonished reply. "The Council won't believe it." The scarred Brackner withdrew its paw and turned, making a series of sounds to the others. The formation broke, and the Brackners approached, not in a threatening rush but in a curious, almost cautious manner. "They want to see you," Tyler realized. "You're probably the first human who's ever entered their habitat without weapons or restraints." Dr. Shaw stood her ground as the Brackners circled them, sniffing and occasionally making those distinctive rumbling sounds. Their behavior is completely inconsistent with all previous documentation. This is revolutionary. One of the smaller Brackners, possibly a juvenile, approached Dr. Shaw directly, extending its neck to sniff at her lab coat. After a moment's hesitation, the doctor slowly raised her hand and gently touched the creature's scaled head. It rumbled contentedly. "Incredible," she whispered. The moment was interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the habitat. The Brackners immediately tensed, several backing away and resuming defensive postures. "What's happening?" Tyler called out. Director Coven's urgent voice came over the comm system. "Security breach. Chief Vorex has escaped custody and overridden the habitat controls. He's initiated the containment protocol." "What does that mean?" Tyler demanded. "The habitat will be flooded with pacification gas in 60 seconds. You need to get to the airlock immediately." Tyler looked at the Brackners, now growing increasingly agitated as red warning lights flashed throughout the habitat. "We can't leave them here to be gassed. The airlock can only cycle 2 humanoids at a time," Dr. Shaw said, the scientific calm in her voice giving way to genuine concern. "We can't evacuate them all." Tyler turned to Barley. "Can you lead them somewhere safe? Is there any part of this habitat that might be protected from the gas?" Barley made a negative-sounding grunt, then scratched rapidly at the ground. The marks showed a simple diagram of the habitat with X marks throughout. Nowhere was safe. "Director," Dr. Shaw called urgently. "Abort the containment protocol." "I'm trying," came the frustrated reply. "Vorex has locked out the override codes. The system won't respond." Tyler looked around desperately, then spotted the habitat's environmental control panel near the airlock, a backup system for manual adjustments. "Dr. Shaw, can we reverse the ventilation system? Pull the gas out instead of pumping it in." Her eyes widened. "Theoretically, yes, but it would require administrative access to the environmental subsystems." "Which I have," Director Coven interjected. "Get to the control panel. I'll talk you through it." They ran to the panel, the Brackners following in apparent understanding of the urgency. The scarred leader positioned himself and several others between Tyler and Dr. Shaw and the airlock, as if anticipating trouble from that direction. As they reached the panel, the airlock began to cycle. "Someone's coming through," Tyler warned. Dr. Shaw frantically worked the control panel under Director Coven's guidance. "The subsystem is responding, but slowly. We need another 30 seconds." The airlock door slid open, revealing Chief Vorax and two Tarkasian warriors, all armed with heavy stun rifles. "Step away from the control panel," Vorax ordered. "The containment protocol will proceed as planned. These creatures are sentient." Dr. Shaw protested. "What you're doing amounts to assault." Vorax's yellow eyes narrowed. "What I'm doing is protecting this station from dangerous predators and human sentimentality. The Imperium will not allow its security measures to be compromised by misguided science." "This isn't about security," Tyler said, moving to stand between Vorax and the Brackners. "This is about control. About making sure no one discovers that the great Tarkasian warriors have been abusing intelligent beings." Vorax raised his rifle. "You've interfered enough, human." Before he could fire, Barley let out a deafening roar. The other Brackners responded in kind, the sound reverberating throughout the habitat in a coordinated chorus that made even Vorax hesitate. In that moment of distraction, Tyler lunged forward, tackling the security chief. They crashed to the ground, struggling for control of the rifle. The Tarkasian warriors moved to assist their leader, but found their path blocked by 13 very large, very angry Brackners. "Stand down." Director Coven's voice boomed from the overhead speakers. "Station security is en route. This is your final warning, Chief Vorax." Vorax snarled, his superior Tarkasian strength giving him the advantage over Tyler. He pushed the human off and regained his feet, weapon raised. "You understand nothing of the true nature of these beasts." Before he could fire, the scarred Brackner moved with surprising speed, placing itself directly between Tyler and the weapon. The creature didn't attack. It simply stood there, a living shield, its multiple eyes fixed on Vorax with unmistakable intelligence. One by one, the other Brackners joined it, forming a protective barrier around Tyler and Dr. Shaw. Barley took position at the front, directly facing Vorax. The Tarkasian's confidence faltered in the face of this coordinated display. This is some kind of trick. Some human technology controlling them. "No technology," Tyler said, rising to his feet behind the wall of Brackners. "Just understanding. Something you never bothered to attempt." Station security personnel flooded through the airlock, quickly disarming Vorax and his warriors. Director Coven entered behind them, surveying the scene with astonishment. "The containment protocol has been aborted," he announced. "Dr. Shaw, Mr. Grant, are you injured?" They both confirmed they were unharmed as the security team led Vorax away, the former chief still protesting about the dangerous nature of the Brackners. As the immediate crisis passed, the Brackners relaxed their protective formation, though they remained close to Tyler and Dr. Shaw. The scarred leader approached Director Coven, who instinctively stepped back. "It's okay," Tyler assured him. "I think he just wants to see who's in charge." The director held his ground as the massive creature examined him, sniffing curiously at his uniform insignia. After a moment, the Brackner made a rumbling sound and stepped back. "I believe," Dr. Shaw said with barely contained excitement, "that was a formal acknowledgement of authority. Director, we're witnessing behaviors that completely redefine our understanding of xenobiology." Director Coven nodded slowly. "The Science Council must be informed immediately. This changes everything. Our research protocols, our ethical guidelines, perhaps even our definition of sentience itself." Over the next several weeks, the Proxima Research Station underwent a dramatic transformation. The Brackner habitat was redesigned as a Brackner community, with the creatures themselves indicating their preferences through a communication system developed by Tyler and Dr. Shaw. The control rods and restraints were replaced with respect and understanding, and for the first time in recorded history, Brackners and humans worked together as partners rather than adversaries. The Tarkasian Imperium, facing political embarrassment and potential sanctions from the Galactic Alliance, reluctantly withdrew their security personnel from all Science Council facilities. An investigation into their centuries-long conflict with the Brackners was opened, with early findings suggesting that what had been portrayed as unprovoked Brackner aggression often had significant provocations. 6 months after his arrival at Proxima Station, Tyler stood on the observation deck, watching as Barley led a group of younger Brackners through what appeared to be a complex game involving patterns scratched on the ground. Dr. Shaw, now Director Shaw following Coven's promotion to the Science Council, joined him at the viewport. "The translation matrix is showing promising results," she said, showing him the data on her tablet. "We've identified over 300 distinct Brackner vocalizations and their contextual meanings." Tyler smiled. "Not bad for mindless beasts, huh?" "The Council has officially reclassified them as a sentient species," she replied, "with all the protections and rights that status entails." Below them, Barley looked up, somehow sensing their presence. The massive creature raised a paw in what was unmistakably a wave. Tyler waved back. "You know," Director Shaw said thoughtfully, "when the Galactic Alliance was formed, there was significant debate about including humans. Many species considered Earth too primitive, too violent, too unpredictable. What changed their minds?" Tyler asked. Ambassador Chen brought her dog to the negotiations. Shaw smiled at Tyler's surprised expression. "It's true. The ability to form bonds with other species, to see intelligence and worth where others saw only threat or utility, that was uniquely human at the time. It demonstrated a capacity for empathy that many advanced civilizations had actually lost in their pursuit of technological progress." Tyler considered this as he watched Barley with his kin. "So we weren't too primitive. We just hadn't forgotten something important that the others had." "Precisely." She handed him a data crystal. "The Council has approved your proposal, by the way. The first Brackner delegation will be welcomed at Concordat Station next month. They've requested that you serve as their official liaison." Tyler accepted the crystal with a grin. "From janitor to diplomat. My mother would be proud." "It's more than that," Shaw insisted. "You've changed how we view an entire species. That's a legacy few can claim." As if to punctuate her words, the station's mess hall began preparation for the afternoon meal. The scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the ventilation system, a smell that now triggered an excited rumbling from every Brackner in the community. Tyler laughed. "Some legacies start smaller than others. Sometimes all it takes is a sandwich." Director Shaw smiled. "Indeed. The simple acts often have the most profound consequences." She turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and the Council asked me to convey their formal gratitude. Your actions have potentially prevented centuries of continued conflict." Tyler nodded his acknowledgement, but his attention had already returned to Barley and the others. The massive creatures that had once been feared throughout the galaxy were now playing what looked remarkably like a game of tag. Their rumbling sounds like laughter as they chased one another across the community grounds. "Not bad," he murmured to himself. "Not bad at all." Later that evening, Tyler sat on a bench in the community area, watching the twin suns of Proxima Centauri set beyond the station's dome. Barley lounged beside him, contentedly gnawing on a specially reinforced chew toy. "You know," Tyler said conversationally, "a year ago I was scrubbing floors and emptying trash receptacles. The most exciting part of my day was finding a credit chip someone dropped in the diplomatic sector." Barley rumbled, nudging Tyler's hand with his massive head. "Yeah, I know. Things change." He scratched the spot between Barley's central eyes that the creature particularly enjoyed. "For the better, in this case." The scarred Brackner leader, now officially named Granite in the translation matrix, approached and settled nearby. Over the months, Tyler had learned to interpret the subtle differences in Brackner communication. The deep, rhythmic rumbling Granite now produced translated roughly to contentment and gratitude. "You're welcome," Tyler replied. "Though I should be thanking you. You guys have given me a purpose I never thought I'd find." Granite made another series of sounds, shorter, more staccato. Tyler laughed. "Yes, and more bread." "That too." As night fell over the station, Tyler found himself reflecting on the strange journey that had brought him here. One moment of kindness, one sandwich shared with a supposedly mindless beast, had changed the course of not only his life, but potentially the future relationship between humans and Brackners throughout the galaxy. Sometimes the greatest warriors weren't those who conquered with weapons, but those who connected with understanding. Sometimes the most profound discoveries weren't made by scientists with advanced degrees, but by ordinary people who simply saw what others had missed. And sometimes, all it took to change everything was a lonely janitor with a sandwich, willing to see beyond appearances to the intelligence and worth within. Tyler looked up at the stars visible through the station's transparent dome, wondering what other misunderstandings might be waiting to be corrected out there in the vast expanse of space. Whatever they were, humanity would face them not with fear or weapons, but with the most powerful tool in their arsenal, the capacity to recognize kindred spirits, even in the most unexpected forms. Beside him, Barley rumbled contentedly, his massive form relaxed in the peaceful quiet of the evening. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, new connections to forge. But for now, this moment was enough. A human and a once-feared beast, watching the stars together, bound by nothing more complicated than simple understanding and a shared appreciation for good bread. And that was the end of the story. If you listened all the way to here, don't forget to leave feedback about what you thought of the story in the comments, whether positive or negative. Your feedback helps us improve. Also, leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. And I'll leave here on the screen another video that I'm sure you'll like. Big hug, and see you in the next story.